Now, I can't think of a better backdrop to do an automotive introduction video. I'm here in the beautiful Portuguese coastline that you see behind me is the Atlantic Ocean, and the magnificent car next to me is the Peugeot 3008. I'm actually standing here on the coast, the beautiful coast of Cascais, just outside of Lisbon. Now, let me start by telling you a little bit about what will be getting me around my Portuguese adventure during this video. It's the beautiful third generation, brand new Peugeot 3008. Of course, it's got a lot of bells and whistles from that beat that you heard. Now, it comes with a 1.2 liter petrol engine, that's a turbo. It also has a 48 volt mild hybrid system. Put them together and you get 136 brake horsepower with an automatic 6-speed gearbox. It'll propel this car up to about 200 kilometers an hour, a little bit more than that, and it has 3 different modes: Eco, Normal, and Sport. Now, overall, I have been driving it for a little while, and it does seem rather nippy and very comfortable in the city. Now, it also has a beautiful, beautiful color, a great cabin, and many, many things more that we'll discover throughout my week or so here in beautiful Portugal. Now, let me tell you what I'll be doing in Portugal, except for enjoying, well, apart from enjoying such beautiful vistas other than this. Now, this is the Atlantic coast, of course, and I have some chaps behind me who decided to come and park while I'm filming this video, and they're actually going to go diving, but it kind of adds a little bit more reality, adds a little bit more essence to the video, and they've been getting dressed there to go diving here to catch fish, shellfish, of course. Portugal is very, very, what are they famous for? Let me tell you, bacalhau, which is a kind of codfish. Sardines are very famous here, and octopus you can find almost everywhere you go. But of course, we're going to be staying in some great hotels. We're going to be eating some fantastic food, meeting some great, great people, and of course, driving this beautiful piece of machinery. Now, that's about it as far as the intro goes. Now, without further ado, let's get on with the Portuguese road trip. But before that, don't forget that I have been here for another 3 days before I started shooting this video, and that was for a very, very special drive just down the road in Estoril, the famous Estoril track where Ayrton Senna made history. Without further ado, let's start driving, shall we? I'm Alf Sarper, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, here we go. Wherever in the world we might be, I will get on with the GoPro tour, which I love. It's a great way to explore the exterior of a car. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn this camera around so that we can see this beautiful Peugeot 3008. Now, look at that beautiful front. You've got those fantastic lights over there, a beautiful, beautiful grille, very imposing, very strong, very stylish, and that color just seamlessly blends in to the beautiful Atlantic Ocean there. And don't think that the Atlantic Ocean stays like that. It can get very, very windy indeed. I'm going to show you the side silhouette as well. Before that, just have a look at those beautiful alloys, those beautiful tires. They are 19 inches, immaculate, absolutely beautiful. Of course, the car has an abundance of sensors, great side silhouette there. The way the top kind of just curves down, and this kind of spoiler over here, it's more stylish than I think in terms of aerodynamics, but it could have an aerodynamic quality to it. I don't want to doubt the wonderful engineers over at Peugeot and Stellantis, but as far as looks, it looks beautiful. So from the back, again, a great, great imposing car. Now, let me show you a little party trick that this car has in the boot. While this is a beautiful car, whether you're single, you're a couple, or for a family, it's got plenty of space, plenty of style, and plenty of party tricks. And this party trick got me rather excited, and I'll tell you what it is. You see, you open the boot, and right now, this is kind of low, but when I first picked it up, this was like this, and I could hardly fit in my luggage. Obviously, I'm traveling with a +1 naturally, but over here, if you put this down, there you go. And that really makes all the difference between getting your luggage in and not being able to get your luggage in. And if I'm not mistaken, that's about 512 20 liters of boot space. This is, of course, a hybrid. You can get, from what I know, a four-wheel drive as well, and then a plug-in hybrid should be available later this year. But of course, if any of that information is wrong, we will correct it. Now, without further ado, let's check out what's inside this beautiful Peugeot 3008. Well, here we are inside the Peugeot 3008, and in here, it is a cabin to be reckoned with, and I'll tell you why. Because you've got plenty of space, visibility is fantastic, the equipment is beautiful, and let me start with the steering wheel. Very interestingly shaped, very futuristic, very, very functional, and when I first saw it, I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to be comfortable, but it's actually extremely comfortable. Of course, you can adjust it every which way that you want, and you have your cruise control over here, and you have your stereo controls over here right in front of you. You've got a rather nice curved screen. You know, all sorts of information right in front of you. These are essentially, from what I understand, two separate screens, but they kind of come seamlessly together, slightly kind of curved like this. So in front of you have your speed gauge and your, you know, your petrol, your gears, all that kind of information. You've got this beautiful, there we go, let's do that, beautiful infotainment system. A very quick, it's a Stellantis system, of course. It's very quick, it's very intuitive, very easy to connect to. Connect your Bluetooth, your Android Auto that I can see from here. I'm sure it has Apple CarPlay. If not, I'm sure it does. I don't have an Apple phone. Everything is very easy. You know, media, climate, navigation, phone, mirror screen, car options, settings, application, help, date, time. Very, very quick. Over here, you have AC control kind of shortcuts, which are very, very important. You know, you can just kind of do that. But the AC controls are very good. The AC is very good. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Europe in the summer gets very, very hot, and this AC definitely helps. Apart from that, your gear selector is over here. You've got this beautiful material over here. It adds a touch of class to the car. I have to say, this doesn't have a sunroof. It would probably be nice with a sunroof, but even without the sunroof, there's plenty of spacious feel to the car. Behind, you've got great seats, wonderful seats. You know, you sit behind, you're going to be comfortable. In terms of the ride, of course, I have been driving it for a few days, and we'll do a driving segment with this car, but I have to say, city driving, motorway driving, everything, A to Z, great car. It's surprising because since I left Europe, Peugeot doesn't appear on my list of cars to test when in the GCC in the UAE, but now I have definitely been convinced, and I'll be doing more and more of these beautiful cars. I mean, the interior is fantastic, the exterior just looks so sharp, and the color just adds that je ne sais quoi to this beautiful Peugeot 3008. Well, that's about it from inside the car. Well, we arrived in Porto in the late afternoon, checked into our first hotel, Infante Sagres, more on that later, and took a stroll in the streets, later leading on to dinner. Now, the streets of Porto were rather nice. It has a very Mediterranean feel to it. The closest I can think of is quite Madrid/Barcelona, so it's got that regality of Madrid and the kind of bohemianism, let's say, of Barcelona, full of bars, restaurants, people outside, beautiful weather, and then we went right into dinner. By the way, I'll put down the restaurants towards the end of this video. Now, there's simply a lot to see in Porto. We got to do some of it that you'll see in this video, and here are little snippets of the kind of things we got up to. Right in the heart of Porto, for example, is the Church of Saint Ildefonso. It stops you in your tracks with its facade of more than 11,000 blue and white azulo tiles. Built in the early 1700s, it blends Baroque elegance with centuries of history, from the storm damage and siege battles to hidden graves discovered beneath its floor. Step inside and you'll find the Rococo altar by Nicolai Nasoni, vibrant stained glass, and the echoes of an 1811 pipe organ. It's a living canvas of Porto's soul. On Porto's bustling Rua de Santa Catarina is Café Majestic, a step back to the Belle Époque. Since 1921, its chandeliers, gilded mirrors, and Art Nouveau elegance have drawn the city's elite. Politicians, artists, and intellectuals gathered here through the decades, even J.K. Rowling, who found inspiration for Harry Potter within these walls. Distinguished visitors from Portuguese presidents to international icons have passed through majestic stores. Today, it's more than a cafe, it's a living monument where history, elegance, and the soul of Porto meet over coffee and pastries. And of course, a lot of tourists. The São Bento train station, opened in 1916, greets visitors with magnificent grandeur. Step inside and you'll be surrounded by over 20,000 hand-painted tiles. These walls tell a story of Portugal, from epic battles and royal weddings to rhythms of village life. It feels less like a station and more like a living museum, where every journey begins with scenes from history and tradition. Whether you're catching a train to the Douro Valley or simply passing through, São Bento is where Porto's past and present meet in blue and white beauty. Now my next stop is Bolhão Market, right in the center of Porto, and this is a very special place indeed. First built in 1914, it had a huge rehaul, a huge kind of renovation between 2018 and 2022, and today serves as the hustling, bustling marketplace, food marketplace, as it did for over 100 years. Some of the people here have been kind of holding on to their stalls for 3, 4, even 5 generations, meaning their great-grandfathers were doing the same jobs that they were. Now today, they sell meat, fish, vegetables, flowers, spices, you name it, they have it over here. And compared to what it was before, today it's actually a lot more kind of clean, it's a lot more polished. Now without further ado, let me take you around the Bolhão Market so you can see it for yourself. Let's go. Now, one thing that's really nice in Bolhão is the fact that you can choose whatever kind of seafood, sandwiches, salads, even a glass of port, whatever your heart might desire, and you can literally buy it, either eat it standing up or go behind one of these restaurants where they have a little area for you to sit in. So it's got a very nice casual vibe to it. And one thing I really must add is that you feel incredibly safe in this market, not just in this market, but in Porto. It's not always the case in other European capitals. For example, Barcelona, a city that I love, but you really need to watch your pockets and you need to, be a little bit more careful. But in Bolhão Market, it was kind of, great food, great atmosphere, very safe, very clean. A beautiful place, definitely recommended. Now that is Liberdade Square, with the statue of King Pedro IV right in the middle, as seen from our balcony at the InterContinental Porto. Pedro IV was King of Portugal and Emperor of Brazil, and a monarch who shaped 2 nations. In 1822, as regent of Rio de Janeiro, he defied Lisbon and declared Brazil's independence, becoming its first emperor and giving the country a constitutional monarchy. A decade later, he abdicated in Brazil to fight for liberalism in Portugal, leading a civil war against his brother Miguel. Victorious in 1834, he secured the crown for his daughter Maria II under a constitutional charter. Though he died at just 35, Pedro left behind a legacy as both the founder of independent Brazil and the champion of constitutional monarchy in Portugal. Now, the square is currently under construction, but it was once farmland beyond the medieval walls. It became Porto's center in the 18th century, a place where freedom and progress found their voice. The beautiful square is today lined with elegant facades of neoclassical banks and hotels, and some of Porto's biggest celebrations are also held right here. Now, one of the things you must do when you're in Porto is come down to the shore over here, to the banks of the Douro River. Now, you can actually do a Douro River cruise. There are two cruises. One takes you all the way down that way. That's a day cruise. And another one is about an hour, and that's called the Six Bridges Tour. And that takes you across the river. About an hour, takes you, through these bridges, and some of the bridges are rather interesting. The one behind me is Louis' first bridge that was done by an apprentice, by a disciple, rather, of Gustav Eiffel. Gustav Eiffel did another bridge down over there, and if you go down that way, that's the Atlantic Ocean. Now, of course, this Douro River wasn't as tame as you see it behind me. Over the years, they've fixed it up, and they've put a wave breaker right on the Atlantic coast. Before that, it was actually rather perilous with lots of rocks here, terrible weather. But it was, of course, used for many, many years for transport and for the well-being, or rather for the goodness of the economy of this great city of Porto. Now, where I'm standing on the Villa Nova de Gaia, this is where most of the port sellers are, so they're pretty much lined up across here. And if you come here, you really must visit some of them. You can pre-book them, or some of them you can walk into as well. A great place to wander around, lots of cafes, lots of bars, restaurants, and lots of good port to have a try. Across is Ribeira. Ribeira is quite a bohemian neighborhood. Now, again, full of cafes, bars, restaurants, little streets, a lot to see, a lot to do there. And that part has actually a lot of nice little restaurants, which one of them we shall be experiencing later today. But that's pretty much what I have in mind about the shores of Porto for now. Now, for centuries, the Douro River was used for economical reasons. It was used for transportation reasons, and some of the boats that you see behind me did exactly that. Those are the typical Portuguese boats that for many centuries carried the casks that the port has been stored in, So they would be carried down the Douro River for different kinds of trade. And before I forget, the Douro River, of course, originates in Spain. It's about 900 kilometers in length and starts in Spain and goes all the way through Spain and Portugal and goes right into the Atlantic. Now, while the national fish of Portugal is cod, sardines are everywhere, and sardines are popular because they are an affordable and a staple of Portuguese cuisine. And all across Porto and different cities, you can find these specialist sardine stores, one of which is right behind me. I thought it was an important thing to show you. Well, after having thoroughly had a good look at Vila Nova de Gaia, we get back on the Louis I Bridge and we cross it over. Now there's two ways you can cross it. Earlier in the morning we had come through the top bit of the bridge, giving us some magnificent vistas. On the way back, we took the lower side of the bridge, which is closer to the water, much easier for pedestrians to walk because it can get pretty windy up there, although the views are great. And then we crossed over to Ribeira. Now, Ribeira is a beautiful neighborhood. Again, just pretty much exactly across the water from Vila Nova de Gaia. The streets seem a little bit narrower. Now you have a bunch of restaurants, restaurant after restaurant on the promenade. They look pretty good, but we were told by some locals that these are where most of the tourists go. Although I haven't eaten any of those restaurants, so we can't really comment on them. But we were able to go right into the back streets and we were given a recommendation for a particular restaurant. Along the way, we saw a bunch of other ones. Great little places, great little back streets. Really, you get the authentic feel of Porto. Finally, we arrived at our restaurant. It was a Taberna Dona Antonia, a small family-run place. Now, I think there were about 10 tables downstairs. They had some tables upstairs, but the upstairs bit was closed. Now, they had some wonderful salads, great local wine, of course, octopus, seafood, rice, a particular Portuguese-style croquettes, and what else did we have? We had a fantastic sausage as well. Really great food, very decently priced, top quality. The staff were particularly good, and it was just a fantastic evening. Highly recommended. Now, one of the hotels we stayed in Porto was the Infante Sagres, a true icon of Portuguese hospitality. Opened in 1951, it was the city's very first five-star hotel, named after Prince Henry, the navigator, the Infante Sagres. It was the vision of industrialist Delfim Ferreira, who set out to give Porto a palace of modern luxury. The hotel's grandeur comes alive in its sweeping wrought iron staircase, carved woodwork, and stained glass panels crafted by master craftsmen. Over the decades, the Infante Sagres has welcomed kings, artists, legends, from the Dalai Lama to U2, all drawn to its timeless elegance. Today, after a meticulous restoration, it offers 85 rooms and suites, crowned with a rooftop plunge pool and the stylish outdoor restaurant. Part of the small luxury hotels of the world, the Infante Sagres remains Porto's Grande Dame, where history, craftsmanship, and modern luxury sit right in the center of Porto. And now, let's have a look at the Royal Suite. Now here we have the Royal Suite, decorated in the beautiful style of the Infante Sagres. This really combines elegant old world charm, or postmodern charm rather, with a touch of modernity. You have a dining area over here, wonderfully decorated, and a library, as you can see. Then a small bar area over here. Beautiful kind of tapestry, perhaps one could call it, on the walls. Come through. A rather nice living room over here. And I want to show you from out the window. Looks right on to the front facade of the hotel. Then we come in through the living room. And beautiful. Plenty of sunlight from there. And we go into the grand bedroom over here. Really, really tastefully decorated. Really combining those postmodern days with modern touches. Beautifully done. Fantastic. And then the artwork is particularly interesting. From Portuguese battles, I would presume. And a rather impressive bathroom here. Fantastically done. Well, our next hotel in Porto was the InterContinental Palacio de Cardosas. The building was once an 18th century monastery, later transformed into a grand palace, and our balcony looked right on to the city's main avenue. After a meticulous restoration in 2011, the palace reopened its doors as one of Porto's most prestigious hotels, with its striking neoclassical facade. Inside, the Palacio de Cardosas offers 105 rooms and suites with high ceilings, marble finishes, and views over the square. The hotel's bar, Bar de Cardosas, is a great place for drinks. Staying here, you really feel like living a piece of Porto's history. Well, that about does it for Porto. But before I head over to Nazaré, let me share a list of the 3 restaurants we dined at while in Porto. Now, that beautiful, fantastic vista, that view that you see behind me, those are the cliffs of Nazaré going down to the beach, and right behind me over there, that's the North Beach. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this place. Nazaré has some of the biggest waves in the world, and it's a hotspot for wave surfers that come from all around the world. Of course, right now we're in the summer. The waves come up to their peak from November and all throughout the winter season. So right now they're rather tamed, but it's still very, very interesting to come and see them over here. Now, of course, I was driving between Porto and Lisbon in my beautiful Peugeot 3008, and I had to make this stop in the town of Nazaré. Over there, where it's a little bit more touristy, you've got bars, cafes, restaurants, and a much more tamed beach. But then when you go to the North Beach, that's where the mega waves come to life. And there's been some really, really impressive ones. Like I said, those waves won't be around until November. What I'll do is I'll find some footage and put them in so you can see what they look like.